Hey, what's up everybody? This is Muth24, and today I'll be taking a look at the Anime Legends Collection number 2 for Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, which is the one on the left here. I want to start off this review by just showing off the box art here. With collection number 1, and I have a review of this up on my channel already, and I'll put a link to that in the description box below. But with collection number 1, you have the Zeta Gundam, the Hyakushiki, the Psycho Gundam, and the Mark II. It's very cool to look at. Really nice artwork. I think it's actually from the trilogy of films, so the updated animation from the late 2000s, which I suppose isn't exactly the most accurate representation of what Zeta Gundam's all about for the the 80s series. But it definitely looks really cool, whereas with this one you just kind of got the Zeta Gundam's head, which admittedly is nice because it's highly detailed and it's got some cool color to it. But just having Fa and Camille on the front there is just, I don't know, kind of boring to me compared to this. I still think it's a cool art piece for the cover, just not nearly as cool as that. And normally I wouldn't bring this in to be such a big point, but it does factor into this, I think, more than it would with other anime DVDs, simply because of the severe lack of special features you get with these DVDs. And I'll get into that more in a minute. But anyways, taking collection 1 aside there, if we spin collection 2 around, you've got Camille on the side there and the Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam logo. And then on the back, you've got some praise for it from Protoculture Addicts. You have 3 little highlights there with Haman Karn, the Hyakushiki, and the Mark II, and then a little scene there which I won't spoil for the end of the series. But you have episodes 26 through 50 on 5 different discs, and it's just talking about here how it's continuing the conflict of the Ayug versus the Titans. And then the DVD special features are interactive menus, English and Japanese audio, and English subtitles. Now, if this was an older DVD that came out like around the time of the original Gundam Wing DVDs, or even the original Mobile Suit Gundam when that first came stateside, I'd totally be willing to let that slide. But considering this came out in, I think it was 2004, when these DVDs finally hit stateside, that's kind of really shirking on that, and I think it's kind of cheap on Bandai's part to not include anything extra there. I mean, even if it was something silly like what they had with the Transformers DVDs, where they ran the commercials for the toys as a bonus feature on the DVDs, that's still something more. It really does kind of bug me, too, that the menus are literally just still frame images. There's nothing to them that's, there's not even any animation. You just got the music and the picture, and that's it. So it seems like it was really kind of cheap in that regard. As for the story, it continues everything from the first half of Zeta Gundam. I'm going to be honest, I like the second half of Zeta Gundam a little bit more than the first half, simply because it's a little bit more focused. It knows where it's going, which isn't to say that the first half didn't, but the first half had to do more build-up, refresh people's memory as what's gone on since the original Mobile Suit Gundam, what's different, how is this dynamic between the Ayug and the Titans different from the Earth Federation and Zeon. Whereas with this one, you're kind of familiar with the action. There is sort of that cycle of, oh crap, someone's going out in the Katz is going out in the G Defensor and he shouldn't be, we should reprimand him, and then he never gets the bright slap like he should. But it's part of just the older Gundam series, or just 80s series in general, that you're going to have those cheesy elements and sort of an element of predictability to each episode. But definitely the last 10-15 episodes or so are just great. Classic Gundam. Again, it's an older series, so it's going to be cheesy at times, but I think of the old Gundams, this one's probably my favorite, just because it has that classic 80s sci-fi feel to it. Now, as for the dub, there have been much better dubs. I'm not saying this is the worst. I still think Gundam Wing's dub is probably the weakest I've heard so far in the Gundam series, but at the same time, Gundam Wing's dub was done in the 90s, and people were still kind of getting their feet wet with dubbing anime over to bring it stateside, so I'm also willing to be a little bit more flexible with Gundam Wing's dub as opposed to this. It's weird, too, because with Zeta Gundam, there are some characters, like Quattro, or Char, who are voiced very well, and I think even Captain Bright is voiced pretty well. Camille's voice actor gets better in the second half. He was kind of hit or miss during the first half, and he's definitely better in this one, but there are just some people that I don't understand why they cast them as the characters they did, or, why they don't try more. There's some people that just feel like they don't even really care that much the way that they come across in the series. So, I mean, if you're not a fan of the dub voice, there's always a Japanese audio if you want to watch that and turn the subtitles on. As far as the animation quality is concerned, though, it does get better as the series goes on. I mean, it's not bad by any means. It's pretty good for the day that this came out. But in the last few episodes, there are some scenes that are almost to the quality of like Char's Counterattack or something. Maybe not quite that good, but you know, they definitely seem like they were made for like a standalone film, which is really impressive, I think, and it's kind of a testament to how well this series has stood up. Granted, you're not going to have anything quite as colorful or as fluidly animated as the newer series, but I think for its time, it's really well done. Now, taking a look at the contents of the DVD Collection 2 here, pop it open, and you have all 5 discs in here. The first one, you have Jared and the really ugly-looking mobile suit whose name I can't remember, but it doesn't matter because it's just kind of hideous-looking. You have the Hambrabi here, which is basically a giant blue starfish in space. There you have Quattro and Amuro and the Hyakushiki. Then this disc has Paptimus Shirako and the O, which looks like a giant potato with a cone head. And then you have Rekua, Paptimus, and it's the upgraded Gap Plant, I believe. Anyways, I really do like the art on these discs. It's kind of cool with the, you know, that more highly detailed renders of these characters, especially Shirako's hair. Just, man, look at how many lines they drew into that. But anyways, there's really nice artwork for the discs, and I think it does kind of make up for the lackluster menus a little bit, but again, I would have liked to see more on that. Now, as I mentioned before, I believe these both retailed, both volumes 1 and 2 retailed for like $50 when they first came out, which is definitely cheaper than tracking down all the individual disc releases, but it's also $50 per volume. I got mine for considerably cheaper. I want to say it was less than half of that for each one. So, I mean, they've been out for a while. They're not that hard to find most places. If you should go look on Amazon or something, you'll be able to find them no problem. But I definitely recommend these if you're a fan of the older Gundam series, and if you are a fan of Zeta Gundam in particular. I'd also recommend them if you are just a fan of Gundam as a whole and you kind of want to watch every series. That's part of the reason that I got these, was because I wanted to go back and watch some of the older stuff. But if you're someone who is looking more for the full package in these DVDs, you know, having some special features to watch, this probably isn't going to be your cup of tea. Also, if you're not a big fan of the older 80s kind of cheesy moments, I'd kind of recommend you stay away from them. But for me personally, I really enjoyed this series. I thought it was a really great old, sci-fi mecha series. And that pretty much wraps up this review. So with that, I will see you guys next time. Don't forget that you can always check out the reviews of all of these Gundam DVDs on my channel, as well as the upcoming review of Unicorn Gundam Volume 1.